The following content is explicit. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome to the Red Rum Podcasters. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Natasha. Bitches. Sorry, I felt a little feisty today.
Bitches. Just referencing to our last episode. Because? Why are you feeling spicy today? Because?
Exactly. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get these couple little things here. Just want to point out, we have our merch available that we just got up, and there's some sales that go on every now and then. I think the sale that was on is currently, over, but they have a lot coming on. So if you guys do want to get in there and get some merch, like I said, you can get everything from cups, tote bags. I mean, I guess if you want to hang a tapestry, go for it if you're into that kind of thing. But, there's shirts, there's long sleeve, short sleeve, kids, there's baby onesies. Oh my gosh, I about died.
I just don't know how the daycare would feel about me sending my children to daycare in something that says Red Rum.
They won't know. Maybe it's just rum with food coloring.
Maybe.
I guess that's not any better, is it?
No.
But yeah, so you can get that. It's TeePublic. The best way to get to it is actually also on our website. So if you guys are looking at it on a computer, it's going to be up at the top. There's a link that says store, and that'll take you directly to our storefront. No searching needed. Get you exactly where you need to go. If you're on a cell phone, scroll all the way to the bottom, and it's going to be in those thin white letters on the bottom. Sometimes it's a little hard to see, but it's down there. Like I said, it's
Get your readers out.
Yeah, get your readers out. Maybe ask, somebody beside you to help you out. But yeah, you can get on there, and like I said, it takes you directly to it. On the website, you can also do reviews. You can contact us. You can leave a voicemail if you click the little microphone button. All our episodes are on there. Our social media is on there. I mean, any external links that we have, everything is all on the website. So go on there, look around, and experiment. That's what I did. I went on there, and I made the damn site, and I didn't realize that this link had all these other links underneath it, and I opened it up, I was like, well, son of a bitch.
Woohoo.
And I was like, score. I was like, well, that's easy to get to. So if you want to register as a guest, if you hit that link, it also has writing reviews to the platform. So go for that.
So can I just say really, really quickly, I'm kind of sad today.
Oh, no.
My summer buddy at work is gone now. This was his last day at work.
A summer buddy.
So he was summer help.
Oh.
And he's going back to college next week.
I didn't even know we had that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I'm kind of sad my summer buddy's leaving.
I think that's all we have for the beginning.
Yeah.
Stuff. We got some stuff to cover at the end, but we're going to go ahead and get our hands dirty here. So what you got?
This one's a little rough, man.
Ooh. Do I need to, get some more tissues? What are we talking about? I have no fucking emotions. I'm an asshole.
Yeah, this one was rough. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get into it.
Okay.
In West Virginia, on July 6th, 2012, Skylar Neese, who was 16, her parents discovered that she was missing. So like I said, Skylar was 16. She had a 4.0 GPA, a part-time job at a fast food restaurant, and an active social life. Skylar was an only child and very bubbly, according to her dad, Dave.
Why is it always the nice kids? It's never like this shitbag child, with smoking pot, graffiti in the walls, and they just vanish. It's always like, no, our valedictorian candidate over here that was, gorgeous.
So her dad also stated that she was a very loyal friend.
Okay.
Skylar had met her best friend, Sheila Eddy, when they were 8.
Damn.
And when the girls became freshmen, Sheila met a girl named Rachel Schoaf, who ended up transferring to the same high school, and the girls kind of became a trio. But as we all know how high school girls can go, the trio soon started arguing amongst themselves.
Okay, I feel like I might potentially know what you're talking about. Or something similar. We shall see.
On July 5th, Skylar went home after finishing a shift at work, and the next morning her dad noticed that her bed had not been slept in. He later found her window screen in her closet and a hidden bench that she could use to climb in and out of her window. At that point, Dave knew she snuck out that night. Then the panic set in that she hadn't returned home.
Yeah, that's scary.
That same day, Skylar did not go to work for the very first time ever. Like I said, this kid was reliable.
Yeah.
Her parents then called the police to report her missing. Sheila called Skylar's parents later that day to explain what happened the night before. She said that her, Skylar, and Rachel had snuck out the night before, and drove around while getting high.
Okay, so maybe she wasn't the golden child we thought she was.
So she said that the two girls dropped Skylar off at the end of the road so they didn't wake up her parents, and they wouldn't wake up her parents when she snuck back in. She said they picked her up around 11 and had dropped her back off before midnight. But on the surveillance camera, a car is seen pulling up at 12:30, and at 12:35 Skylar is seen sneaking out of her room and getting into the car that drives away. They lived in an apartment building, so they had cameras like out in the parking lot and stuff.
Okay. My brain, I think, just took a shit on me. So she snuck out with the girls.
Yes.
Went and had a good time.
Yes.
They dropped her off
Down the road.
She walks back, or she gets kind of back and then gets in another car and leaves?
No, so the whole deal was...
Or the dropping off was bullshit?
It was a time discrepancy.
Ah, okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like 2 trips, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the car was determined to be Sheila's, and July 7th, Sheila and her mom helped the Neeses look for Skylar, while Rachel left for Catholic summer camp for 2 weeks.
That sounds like a good time.
As time passed, the running story for police was that Skylar went to a house party and overdosed.
I thought they just were driving around smoking weed.
They had heard rumors that she overdosed on heroin and died, and the people at the party panicked and then disposed of the body. So there's the friends saying, oh, we just went out and drove around and smoked weed. And then there's a rumor going around town saying that she was at a house party and overdosed on heroin.
But did she do heroin?
It doesn't say that she does. I couldn't find anything like saying that she had ever done heroin.
I feel like, I don't know for sure, but I feel like if you're a 16-year-old child or any age for that matter, and you're doing heroin, you're not just doing, I don't even know what the hell you call it. You call it like a hit? Like what the fuck? What, one dose? I don't know. Whatever you call that. You do it once, and then you're just like, I don't think you casually do heroin. I think you're pretty much hailing to the heroin goddess after the first try.
Yeah.
And then there's no way she could maintain work, a 4.0 GPA, and all of this
and
shit.
hide the fact that she's on heroin.
Yeah, because sorry for everybody who, is educated out there. I don't know shit. So is that something, like, do you snort it? Do you shoot it? You shoot it up, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to hide all those, I guess if you do it between your toes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe.
So anyways, one of the detectives found that Sheila's demeanor was suspicious when she spoke. So the detective was a woman. I'll clarify that because... So when the detective spoke to Sheila for the first time, she thought that her demeanor was suspicious. And she said that she was completely blank on emotions. And that it was like she was iced over. She was just straight faced.
Ah, shit, man. So me and Sheila.
She also thought that Rachel seemed nervous whenever she spoke to her as well.
Okay. Did they speak to them separately?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because if they were together, I could see if Sheila's raging fucking psychopath and this poor other girl's like, oh dear God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Detective Colbank, which is the detective that I have previously been talking about, said, quote, their stories were verbatim the same.
Ooh, that's not good.
No one's story is exactly the same unless it's rehearsed, end quote.
Yeah. Truth.
And she also said, quote, everything in my gut was Sheila is acting wrong. Rachel is scared to death, end quote.
Yeah.
After looking over surveillance video and phone records that proved that Sheila and Rachel were lying about what happened that night, on December 28th, Rachel had a nervous breakdown and was committed to a psychiatric hospital. I
wonder why.
I don't know. So after being discharged from the hospital on January 3rd, so now we're into 2013.
Okay.
Just to clarify. Rachel confessed to her attorney that she and Rachel stabbed Skylar to death.
Okay.
Sorry for the pause.
No, you're
lost
okay.
my spot. The cops had not had anything that led them to believe that the two girls conspired with one another to commit premeditated murder.
So they were going to get away with it until she cracked. That's why you never bring a weak link to a party. I'm just, not that I would ever, you know what? We're just not going to go there. Just find your friends. Get good friends.
Rachel wore a wire for the police to try and get Sheila to incriminate herself, but failed.
Can you fucking imagine? I mean, that girl was already scared shitless.
Yeah, she agreed to wear the wire and try and talk about it with Rachel or with Sheila, but like Sheila wouldn't say shit.
I'm just wondering, I mean, that poor girl was probably petrified.
Oh, yeah. According to Rachel's confession, she blurted out, quote, "We stabbed her."
Oh, okay.
She said that they had planned the murder a month in advance.
Holy shit.
This is so high school.
Yeah.
One day they were in science class, and they
Oh my
agreed
God.
that maybe they should kill her.
Poor Kay.
They just weren't all getting along as a group, and it was kind of one of those, as far as what I understand from my research, is it was kind of one of those things that Sheila met Rachel, and then they became really good friends really fast, and it kind of pushed the childhood friend like out of the friend group kind of
Yeah.
thing. She was maybe the annoying third wheel kind of thing to their duo.
Well, what I'm wondering, just from what you're saying and how these girls are responding, it was probably, Skylar, right? I'm going to make sure I get the name right. Okay. She seemed like she had a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah.
She was probably a pretty good girl. And you have Sheila, who's probably not the best influence.
Yeah.
Probably one of those friends that Sheila's parents are like, thank God Skylar's around because Sheila's a
Yes.
fucking monster. Maybe it'll be a good influence. But then here comes
Rachel.
Rachel. And maybe Rachel is a more submissive and more obedient. She's a 16-year-old fucking girl wanting, approval and attention, right?
At a new squirrel. At
a new school, yeah.
Sounded like I said squirrel.
So she was probably easier to manipulate. So then Sheila no longer needed Skylar because now she's got her own minion.
Well, and I think testament to that is just the way that they reacted when the detective was talking to them, like how
Exactly.
Sheila was just stone-faced.
Yeah.
And then Rachel's like over here like a ball of fucking nerves.
Yeah, but saying exactly what Sheila wanted her to say.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a lot to do with that dynamic.
So on the night of the murder, Rachel took a shovel from her dad's house, while Sheila took 2 kitchen knives from her mom's kitchen. Both girls also brought cleaning supplies and a change of clothes. When they got to the woods, so this was like on the border of West Virginia and Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, as you go in these woods, you do actually cross that border into Pennsylvania.
So in my head, you said that, and I'm like, those 2 states are next to each other? I am not good with geography, sorry. But yeah, I can see that being, crossing over the line. And that brings in a whole nother scenario of if it was committed over there, but then she's missing in a different county and their state, there could be lack of communication between the two.
I mean, just look at the case that I covered a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
When they got to the woods where Skylar thought the girls were just going to be getting high, the other 2 girls got behind her.
Uh-oh.
Now, I will clarify this. Rachel and Sheila both did have pipes on them. Like, they were planning to get high that night.
Yeah.
They were also wearing sweatshirts for a particularly hot night. For the time of year it was.
I guess maybe that's to keep the blood off of them?
Yep.
I would have just wore a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I would do that, but
The 2 girls got behind her, and Rachel said, quote, "On 3," and they started attacking her. Skylar got away, but the girls caught back up to her and stabbed her in the knee so she couldn't run very far again. In her dying breaths, all she had to ask was why.
the poor baby.
When the authorities asked Rachel the same question, she said, quote, "We just didn't like her."
If I murdered everyone I didn't like, we'd have
Yeah.
a much lower population in this fucking town.
Oh my gosh. Especially in high school.
Oh, are you kidding me? The whole day of school would have been dead.
So in early January, Rachel took investigators to the place in the woods where they had killed Skylar. They didn't initially find the body because of the snow. She couldn't find like the landmarks that she, normally could have. Because of her confession, the authorities soon charged her with murder. And about a week later, they found Skylar's body, which was nearly unidentifiable. But it wasn't until 2 months later that the crime lab could officially confirm that the body was Skylar's. They had to do like all their blood testing, DNA, and all that stuff. The investigators matched blood samples from Sheila's trunk to Skylar's DNA, and she was arrested on May 1st.
Good. Fuck that bitch.
So Sheila was charged.
Please tell me they charged him like an adult.
They did. So
Okay.
before,
I was thinking, please don't tell me they just threw her in there for 2 years till she was 18.
no, so because of when all of this happened, and obviously like there's court delays and stuff like that, by the time that they got into all of the court proceedings and stuff, both girls were 18.
Okay, well, I didn't know if they would still have considered that the crime was committed when they were minors.
Yeah, so I did read where they were sent to adult prisons.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So Sheila was charged with first-degree murder, and she pled guilty in January of 2014, 2 years after the murder occurred, ish. A year and some change.
Yeah.
She received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 15 years.
What? No parole, you monster.
Rachel pled guilty as well. She pled guilty to second-degree murder.
Okay.
How long do you think she got? I just want to see what you will say.
12 years?
No.
5 years?
No.
Fuck me, I don't know.
She got 30 years.
Are you shitting me?
So she'll be 48 when she gets out.
And she's not even the monster. Well, I mean, she's the monster, but she's not like the monster.
I mean, she at least showed some kind of like
remorse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and guilt.
What kills me is she got 30 years, but Sheila is eligible for parole in 15.
Yeah, and she's the one who orchestrated the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's just fucked up.
Just because they didn't like her, like they didn't want to be your friend anymore. You could just
Why
like
can't
cut
you
her
just
out.
not be friends?
Yeah, just like cut her out. Let her go do her own damn thing. Like obviously this girl seemed to have like a very bright future ahead of her.
She was going somewhere. She was going to leave. Oh, can't do that because she was going to leave him in the dust. It's not like,
she already has now.
Not like this trailer trash piece of shit over here is not going anywhere in life. You know, she's going to end up doing something. I was going to throw some professions out there, but I probably shouldn't offend anybody.
Do you ever wonder, I don't know, this is where my mind goes sometimes, is like these kids that, sadly get killed before their time.
Mm-hmm.
That was the person that was supposed to cure cancer.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, they were actually going to do something big.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of times it's those kids.
It's the good kids.
Yeah, and it's usually total nonsense.
Yeah, like you said earlier in this episode, it can't, like, it's not the...
It's not the troublemakers usually. I mean, sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes
usually it's
they get in situations,
the gangs and all of that. Yes, but like,
okay. So here's just disclaimer. I'm about to offend some people, so get your big boy and big girl panties on, because here we go. You have the kids that join a gang. Well, you're gonna fucking die. That's what you signed up for. All right, shit happens. Or kids that they get into, hardcore drugs like the heroines and the meth and all that. Well, you're going to fucking die because what do you expect? All right?
Yeah.
Like, you're basically guillotining yourself and expecting to make it out on the other side. Those do happen. But it to me, it seems like the nonsense or...
like stupid
murders.
Accidents.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Always take the good kids.
Yeah. Like the ones... that are like, planned, it seems like they're planned out or whatever. It's always the ones with a bright future and the ones that are going somewhere. And it sucks because, they're not, most of the time, they're not even doing anything wrong.
Yeah, they're just
and they don't...
wrong place, wrong time, wrong friends.
And they don't see it coming.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it blows my mind.
It's sad.
It is sad. That was a bummer.
I'm sorry.
Well...
we'll just get on to the inner bitchin'.
Yeah,
then.
we'll get on to the inner bitchin', and I'm not sure my story's going to be much better. It's okay, but, sorry, guys. Might be a little rough today. But here we go. Welcome to this week's Inner Bitchin'. Today's topic are fun facts about Australia. Number 1.
They get more snow than the Swiss Alps.
Number 2.
90% lives on the coast.
Number 3.
Tasmania has the cleanest air in the world.
Number 4.
It is home to 21 of the 25 most venomous snakes.
And number 5.
It's the 6th largest country in the world.
And welcome back from the Inner Bitchin'. Tasha, what are we covering today?
Well, today's probably going to be, it's a little bit of a short one. I'm not sure if it's uplifting enough to counter yours, but we'll give it a try. I'm actually going to cover King Tut's curse.
Ooh.
It's interesting. I don't know. At the end, I'll ask your opinion because I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
So, can I tell you something just really, really quick? There's another podcast that I listened to, and they were talking about how somehow researchers got like a snippet. They created a snippet from a mummy's vocal cords or something on how they would sound like.
Yes!
And
I listened to one of those too!
And all it says is, meh.
Yeah. I so should have, oh my gosh, let me see if I can find it.
They've made it like a sound that they use constantly throughout their podcast. Like whenever something's just
okay.
like, bleh.
Are we listening to the same podcast? Because I have the same thing.
You don't?
No, it's a different one. Huh,
Yeah,
interesting.
mine's like a comedy podcast. It's not like a historical podcast.
That one sounded like a deer call. It was pretty
It
funny.
does. No, see, mine doesn't sound like that. Let me see if I can find it.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and start this off that on November 4th of 1922, archaeologist Howard Carter and financial contributor Lord Carnarvon stood in the dimly lit opening of the most intact pharaoh's tomb in the Valley of the Kings. It took until February 16th of 1923, however, for the seal of the tomb to be broken. And this tomb was the tomb of King Tut. I'm not going to say his long name. It's like, I can't say it, Tutankhamun or something. Sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing words. Bear with me. He was known as being a very young pharaoh. He actually started his rule in 1332 BC at the age of 9. And he passed away at the age of 18. So he didn't make it very long.
No, not at all.
And from what I gathered, he was a very unhealthy child. And when they found him, I mean, he had, issues with his bones. He had a broken leg, and they're not sure what killed him. His tomb remained untouched for more than 3,000 years. On one hand, these men became instant celebrities for their discovery. But on the other hand, there is said to be a horrible curse associated with violating the embalmed remains that bring upon massive bad luck, severely traumatizing illnesses, and even death. As archaeologists tried to pry the poor boy's remains from the insides of his coffin, they damaged the mummy. And this increased the difficulty of determining his cause of death. There are rumors that after the discovery and before they even cracked open the tomb, a cobra made its way into Carter's home and ate his canary. I'm still laughing about that. Like a cobra gets in and eats your bird.
Rar.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, are birds like a cobra's choice?
Well, I feel like there's something. I thought I read something somewhere. I didn't write it down, but something about the canary supposed to be like symbolic of something. I don't know. And the snake's supposed to be symbolic of something. I just don't remember what it was. Sorry, I didn't write it down. I forgot.
Oops.
I know. Unfortunately, only 5 short months after the discovery of the tomb, Carnarvon was found dead at age 57. And from what I saw, his cause of death was determined to be pneumonia supervening on, oh my goodness, erysipelas.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? which is streptococcal infection of the skin and underlying soft tissue. See, I at least wrote that down. He suffered from an extremely high fever, excruciating pain, pneumonia in both lungs, and eventually heart and respiratory failure.
That's a lot.
Yeah. The chain of declining health began after his exposure to a mold named Aspergillus from entering the tombs. Some experts, however, disagree and say that he was likely ill before he ever even made it into the tomb. After this particular death, Carnarvon's half-brother, oh my god, these people's names, I am sorry ahead of time, Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, I think, met his demise as well. He was said to be the one to do x-rays of the mummy, and his first affliction was developing radiation dermatitis on his fingers. Following his slowly deteriorating health, he died during abdominal surgery later.
After all that bullshit,
Yeah.
and he dies during surgery? Like, what the fuck?
Yep. Supposedly, British archaeologist Hugh Evelyn White hanged himself and was said to have left a note that stated, quote, "I have succumbed to the mummy's curse," end quote. I think that's a really interesting suicide note.
No, love you, sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
None of
just
that.
Mummy
He's-
curse.
Yeah, it's the mummy's curse, and then he goes. Prince Ali Kamil Fahmy Bey, my goodness, of Egypt, was also murdered by a shot from his wife. So he didn't make it very long either. Another victim of this curse was said to be Sir Lee Stack, the Governor General of Sudan, and he was assassinated while being driven through the streets of Cairo.
I found it.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear the mummy sound.
That's it. Meh.
Oh, nice. But yeah, so that's the voice of a mummy apparently.
Meh.
Let's see here. Okay. Arthur Mace from the excavation team also died of arsenic poisoning 6 years after finding the tomb. I'm not sure. I feel like that one's far enough out there that I'm not sure if it could be attributed to the
Arsenic
curse.
poisoning? Like,
Yes.
that's your wife wanted you dead.
Right? Well, and the other guy got shot by his wife.
Maybe it's just like, it's not necessarily how they die. It's the bad luck that it, I guess not necessarily bad luck, but it just leads up to their death.
Yeah. Well, we got a few more, I think, or a couple more. So Richard Bell, Carter's secretary, was found smothered to death in his bed. And later, that same year, the next year, his father committed suicide.
Damn.
After all these deaths that people had attributed to the mummy's curse, Carter still remained skeptical. However, he ended up dying of Hodgkin's disease at the young age of 64. Most of the deaths said to be the result of the mummy's curse seem to occur well past the discovery of the tomb, so I'm not really sure that I would say that they're due to the curse. But there are a few deaths that were close to the discovery date, or that appear to be very strange, that I would comfortably say would be tied to the curse. But that being said, what are your thoughts?
I ain't going into no mummy's tomb.
Well, I ain't going into no mummy's tomb neither.
No thanks.
Because in order to go to a mummy's tomb, that means I'd have to be in the desert, and it's hot, and it's arid, and there's sand in it. Nope.
We'd be sunburnt.
We'd die. We'd shrivel up like raisins.
We'd
Yeah.
be so sunburned.
I'd have to be like, have one of those umbrellas that like comes all the way down to the ground, and basically I'm walking around with a tent on my head.
No, we wear the umbrella hats.
Oh, but that's not enough,
I
man.
know.
You gotta have the full body. I'll be out there, black, covered in black, got an umbrella. look
Like
I'm-
covered in like Under Armour.
Yeah.
Like the full,
the sweat wickening
Yeah.
fabric.
their hot gear or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I made the mistake one time of buying Ben hot gear, thinking like, oh, it keeps you warm. Because he wanted it for under
Oops.
his hunting clothes. Nope. Oops. Which, granted, I just saw that it was like the Under Armour, like that like
Yeah.
undershirt type thing. And I was like, oh, that one.
I have done the same thing. I have bought it thinking I was gonna,
And he opened it. He's like, this says hot gear. And I was like, sorry.
and been like, yeah, you're gonna be hot, right?
You can return it if you want to. I don't give a shit. Like,
But yeah, like I'm not sure how I feel about this. I feel
don't-
that there are other mummies that, were discovered that seem to have more weird stuff and deaths associated with them closer to the time of opening.
I was gonna say, I feel like for me to say that it's associated with going into and opening the tomb, it needs to be closer than like, oh, I went in at like 16 and now I'm 64 and I got a disease. Like that seems like too natural of a cause.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple that were either a few months to up to like a year or two. I could see that.
Yeah, but like,
or they're like weird deaths. You know what I mean?
But not forever after. Like, you cannot blame that on a curse.
Like the one guy, he died at like 64.
You died of natural causes in your old age. Okay, like shit happens, man.
So I'm not sure entirely why people associate this one so much. There's a quote. I don't remember exactly what it is. But there was a quote that's something similar, basically about you open the tomb and your ass is cursed, that was being passed around as supposedly part of something as you went into the tomb.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, from multiple sources that I saw, that's just bullshit. And that they just started that to try to hype up the curse because there were certain news networks that were, I think there was one in particular that basically had the rights to this excavation and all of that. And then whenever they found this, miraculously intact tomb with all of this stuff and this, like, interesting pharaoh and all of this stuff, then other people were wanting to get some attention. So they were just feeding this curse, propaganda to get their ratings and stuff up because they couldn't cover what this other newscast was doing.
Yeah.
I feel like that has a lot to do with it. Was just hyping it up and trying to get some attention and some viewers and that kind of thing. Like trying to pick up the crumbs from the piece of pie because they couldn't have the piece of pie.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has a lot to do with it. But one thing I thought was interesting so while trying to get the mummy out, he was like stuck with all these, sacred oils and everything that were on him. It stuck him to the inside of his coffin. So as they're trying to get him out of the coffin, they damaged him.
Ugh.
And because they damaged the mummy, they couldn't really find a good cause of death.
Yeah.
Because they fucked it up. One thing I did see was he had a broken leg when he was, at the time of death. So they're wondering if, and there was this, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a real, like fancy, it's not the word I'm looking for, but we're going to go with it. Chariot. Like,
ornate.
Thank you. In the tomb with him.
Yeah.
That was clearly, it was used. Like, it wasn't like pristine and never, I mean, it was clearly used at one point. And they're wondering if maybe he was on his chariot, he got in a really bad accident, broke his leg and may have actually killed him in the process. And that might have been what it is.
Yeah.
But they also said that, from looking at, the bones and the density and all of those kind of things, that he was very unhealthy. I mean, very unhealthy. So they said he could have just died because or maybe he got in the chariot accident, broke his leg, it got infected, and, he kicked the bucket. It could be anything. I mean, who knows?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
especially way back then. I mean, you could get a paper cut.
Yeah.
And you die.
Yeah, because of infection and all that, yeah.
Yeah, so they really don't know. And that's what I find fascinating is just that, nobody knows. And the amount of stuff and how well preserved his tomb was just absolutely amazes me because there's just so much there.
Yeah.
And, he's got the famous, face gold mask that everybody, you see, anytime you talk about mummies and that mask comes up, that's him, and it's just, they learned so much because of all of the stuff that was so well preserved in his tomb. And I just think that's really cool. Curse or not, I think it's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But hopefully that was a little bit uplifting, minus the broken leg and death of a child. Other than that,
So anyways, if you would like to subscribe to our Patreon and support us, we have a $1 tier that gets you early access to the episodes and a shout out on the podcast. We also have a $5 tier that gets you early access, a shout out, and a bonus episode every month. And we beefed it up a little bit the last couple of months so that you have some extra
Already in the
content
bank.
there. Yeah. So hit us up on social media. We've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, all of that good stuff.
Oh, and if you have if for whatever reason you do have a hard time locating us on our social media, again, go to the website and there's links to our social media through the website as well that should take you exactly where you need to go.
Yeah, send us your stories, whether it's to our direct email at theredrumpodcasters@gmail.com or whether you hit us up on the website. Again, you can do like a voice memo on the website. You can
There's a contact form.
Yeah, there's a contact form there. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Rate and review us. That really helps us out a lot, especially with people trying to find new podcasts. If they're just like, we like this, they will put us up there if you review us and make us look really good.
And one way that you can support us and help us out, if you are kind of tight or you don't want to spend the money on it, is the rates and reviews. I mean, they're free. Just takes you a couple minutes to do them, and it helps us out tremendously. So.
Yeah, and again, just check out our new website and our merch site.
Oh, we should probably specify that the website is theredrumpodcasters.com.
Yeah.
I guess I can tell you the site.
Sorry. If you can't find it, it's linked on our Facebook.
Yes, and I think there's actually, I think it's really everywhere. I think I've made a post about it on all of the social media, which hopefully you're not one of those people that has a hard time finding us and need to use website, but you can't find us on the website.
And if you get to the website and then you're like, oh, social media, all of our social media is linked on there as well.
One thing I didn't mention in last week's episode, but I want to make sure that I point out this week is for anybody out there, that there's some stuff, shit happens and people sometimes get in some situations and everything. There's also a section on the website. We have one for suicide prevention. It's got the phone number and the website that you can access. And then also there's a link to the website and a phone number for domestic violence. So if you guys are, in need of that, or somebody else who might need that, please go on there, get them the information that they need, send them the links. We just want to make sure that, that information's available for people that need it. And, sometimes we know it's hard reaching out, but trust me, from personal experience, it's totally worth it. So that being said, I think that's everything we got for today. I guess we will talk to you guys next week. So take care and
Stay strange.